Hey guys, how's it going? So, Mafia 3. Originally released back in 2016, it's now available as a part of the Humble Monthly. If you're a subscriber, then you will have this as an early unlock for April's bundle. Somehow I never did play this when it was new, so I figured, ooh, hey, why not take a look at it now? Developed by Hangar 13 and 2K Czech, this is the third installment in the Mafia lineup. First impressions are okay. The intro cinematic only gave a minimal urge to skip. It was nicely presented and wasn't bad in any way, but did feel, to me at least, as though it dragged just a little bit. Getting into the game and finally being handed control over Lincoln Clay, my first feeling was, why does this camera move so damn slowly? I had to check my FPS counter to make sure I wasn't having some type of issue. It's like trying to run underwater. While you can do it, it's not a smooth thing. At this stage I'd only been playing the game for about 2 minutes and I was already disjointed by the feel of things. It feels like a slowed down Grand Theft Auto. Now, you can remedy this somewhat by cranking up the sensitivity in the options, but Lincoln's movement still felt weird. It's something you do get used to over maybe an hour or so of playing, and I presume it's just an attempt to add a more realistic feel to the way the body physically moves, but, well, it's not bad. It's not what I expected, but it's not bad. The driving, that feels pretty good. Again, I had to achieve this via the options menu though. I changed the driving mode to simulation and the pitch of the follow camera to high, and then it felt quite good to use. The speedometer is a nice touch, although looking at it around 30 miles an hour-ish still feels as though you're only going twice the run speed, which is odd, unless Lincoln Clay is also a budget bin bargain basement flash knockoff. No, it's not that bad, to be honest. It's much better than I've experienced in other games. It's far superior to any of the Saints Row mechanics, for example. The handbrake turns and drifting around corners feels quite satisfying, and the tyres sound truly tortured. The sound effects on that are really good, and it feels great. Especially when you pull it off just right. It's like a scene from a movie. It's just good. The more I drive, especially in the faster cars, the more I like the feel of it, personally. Combat. While still essentially exactly the same aim and shoot as every other game in this genre, it feels refreshingly difficult. I had mine set to normal, and while not exactly hard, it didn't allow for the mindless run and gun, at least not in the time frame that I'd given to the game. It did require just a little bit of attention, and that's a very welcome change. I had auto-aim disabled, because I don't want an automated system playing the game for me, and it did feel quite fun. The stealth works to a limited extent. You get the standard sort of white, "ooh, they've noticed me" bars. It's nothing to write home about, all in all. It's not bad. The combat systems here are par for the course. Well, it doesn't do anything badly, but it's not particularly exceptional either. So far, my impressions are mixed. I want to like the game. The era, the setting, it's all something I really enjoy. And my impression is that this has been delivered quite brilliantly. Obviously I wasn't around back then, but it seems accurate based on other themed things that I've experienced all from that era. Enjoyment, however, is marred slightly early on, because you have to constantly fiddle with the options again and again just to try and make things comfortable to use. Story, it starts a little choppy. Is this still the intro narrative? Am I in the main game yet? Is this a flashback, or was I in a flash forward and now I'm in the actual time? These are not questions you want to have pushed into your head within the first 10 minutes of playing a game, and they seem to persist through the early game at least. I enjoy the vibe it offers, the feel that it gives, but at the same time, go away and let me play the damn game. I'm somewhat ambivalent on this one. It is a genuinely good way to tell the story, and once you get used to it, it's not too invasive, but yeah, constantly having the controls taken away from you to watch someone, it just kind of bothers me. The voice acting is spot on, and the facial animations are generally good too. Usually such things are easily dismissed and you don't really pay much attention to it, but in this case I was quite impressed, and it's worth noting. As you would likely expect from a game of this type, there are collectibles, and in this one you collect what seems like actual magazines from the time period, which is a nice touch. Car magazines, Playboy, etc. And yes, if you are so inclined, you can go to your collections and have a leaf through the Playboys. I did, I imagine you will too. I think this is one of those games where if you stick with it, it gets quite good, but if you have little time or little patience, then perhaps this is not quite the title for you. To use the story again as an example, it starts out kinda slow. It seems a little thin, maybe a bit cookie cutter for the genre, but over time it builds into its own sense of self. over the first, say, 5-ish hours of gameplay, it really starts to feel more tied into itself, if that makes any sense. Let's use a cake analogy. This game takes a load of ingredients that you know taste good, and it mixes them up, and at first it looks like any other batter, it smells the same, it tastes the same, but when you let it bake a while, you get what is basically a different cake than you were expecting. Something that's nice, all on its own merit, even though it basically stole all the other ingredients from other games' cupboards. I think that makes sense-ish. Overall, will I continue playing it now I've done this review? Yeah, but not in priority over the other games I've got going on. Maybe once I've completed a few more of those, I'll come back to this. Would I recommend buying it? Well, if you're in need of something to play, then yeah, I guess. But only if you get a good deal on it. As a part of the Humble Monthly, this is yours for somewhere in the region of $1.50, which, to be honest, is nothing. For that price, you get a whole heap of game, and it's totally worth it. For any more than the sort of $10 to $15 mark, though, maybe not. It's not a bad game, not at all. But it's not a particularly great game either. The time period it's set in, the whole Mafia or mob thing, if you've got a soft spot for that, then I think, to be honest, that's going to go a long way to masking what is otherwise a mediocre game. If you don't particularly care for either of those things, then you may very well be better off skipping this entirely. And it is those reasons that I give this game personally a 6.5 out of 10. It's better than average, but only just. Anyway, with all that said, that's me done, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to catch you in the next one.